Well, hello, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday afternoon. And here I am sitting in my backyard preparing to do a project for a client on her property, connecting in using my dowsing techniques as well as tapping into the living intelligence on the land. Let me share a little bit with you. These are the tools I'm using. This is the property that I'm working on. Don't want to show the address for confidentiality reasons, but we're looking at the outline of the property with the home. And I use what's called remote dowsing, which is probably about 95% of the projects that I work on. I do things remotely using a map that I either print out or I draw. And these are some of the other tools that I use. Of course, I have my dowsing rods. I have my pendulum, my trusty Sharpies, and these wonderful charts that I've developed over the years in doing this work, and a little beautiful prayer that I use to connect in with the intelligences of the land. And I cannot forget my rock. Now, this is just not any regular rock. I picked this up when I was visiting the Isle of Skye and actually at fairy pools. And if you've been there, you know how magical fairy pools is. And I have a whole story about that I wrote in my book, The Enchanted Earth. I think I've also done a video on it on my YouTube channel, Luminous Spaces, but it is really a very mystical place. And I had an experience there of really connecting in with not just the living intelligence of the land, but ancestral connections there. So this rock is really important to me, and I have a bunch other rocks upstairs that I use in my connection through Scotland. So anyhow, I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday afternoon and look forward to connecting. So I just had to hop back on because my mind was just blown. I just finished doing the dowsing for this property for my client that I mentioned in the last video. This is a repeat client, so I work with her for many, many years now. And okay, so this is the result of my dowsing, and you're going to see beautiful little spirals and lines on this map. Colorful and pretty. They don't mean a thing to you unless you douse. You probably have some knowing about it. But what just happened now is I go through to find the sources of these different lines and spirals, and they are all representing different energy. The lines represent energy moving through the earth, and the spirals are vortexes of energy because everything moves in vortexes. So this is where I should put a little warning up. But I have been asking, I guess, and finding for the last, I'm just going to say about 6 months, what I call galactic portals. Okay? That's what I have to say. And these are popping up in many of my projects. In fact, probably in the last 5 or 6 months, almost all my projects. And sometimes there's multiple. So I came up with 2 of them. There are 2 of them right here, and they're right next to each other. I don't know if you can see that, but so then the idea came to me like, well, why are there 2? Do they have different functions? And it said yes. And then I got the idea to ask, of course, being guided in my questions from my team, are they different galactic races? And I got yes. I was told that I couldn't find out who they were yet, so I have to honor that. But what I do know for sure is these are very high vibration sources of energy. And there is no doubt these are benevolent forces that are appearing on these properties. And I got the question dropped into me to ask, Are these my clients' soul families? And I got a yes. So that is now going to reframe every project I do going forward, because these are really showing the benevolent forces that are dropping in right now to us. And I think very recently, in fact, all of my work, I have to look back to 2025, but for certain, the work in 2026 are showing these types of energies that are coming through that I've never seen before. Maybe because I never asked for them. That could be, but when I ask now how recent, they are within this year. So I think some were as of January 2025 in some other projects that I've been working on. But this is really interesting, new development. In fact, every project I work on, I'm learning something new. It's exciting, and stay tuned.